Hello humans, and welcome to the third episode of Incoko.
The conversation.
And today, we will be speaking on the much-awaited Valentine's Day that has been a scourge, I joke, that has been a permanent fixture in many a year.
And as we celebrate the month of love, what better way than to discuss our notions of love, how we receive love, and our expressions of love in our day-to-day.
And speaking about love, our episodes would be remiss without a touch base, a base touch on our furry friends.
Yay! I see Scotty's he's very relaxed. He's been chilling since I've got here.
Yeah, no, he's in his nap phase because yesterday he had the zoomies and he was just climbing up dangerously up the stairs, just running around with the giant eyes until finally he settled in my lap and fell asleep.
I don't think I've ever seen my cat with the zoomies. Like, he's a relaxed kind of character. He's always just chilling. Maybe when he goes out, because I let him go outside and play, and he meets up with other cats and they fight and whatever they do. But mostly when he's indoors, he's either napping, cuddling with me, or eating.
No, I hear that. And so, as we speak about different types of love, I think we should give our audience a little brief inspection, I guess you could say, on Valentine's Day and its history.
Take it away.
Valentine's Day, also called Saint Valentine's Day, or the Feast of Saint Valentine, is celebrated annually on February 14th. It originated as a Christian feast day honoring a martyr named Valentine, and through later folk traditions, it has also become a significant cultural, religious, and commercial celebration of romance and love in many regions of the world.
Underline commercial, because I have always thought of it as just like more consumerist nonsense because of how much money people end up spending on these days, and it's just a drive of the capitalist machine for us to spend and express our love through materialistic things. And I love Valentine's Day. I think it's very nice if you have someone to celebrate it with. And even if you don't, there's many expressions of love. It doesn't have to be romantic love specifically.
No, and I hear that. However, there are a number of martyrdom stories associated with various Saint Valentines connected to February 14th, including an account of the imprisonment of Saint Valentine of Rome for ministering to Christians persecuted under the Roman Empire in the 3rd century. According to early tradition, Saint Valentine restored sight to the blind daughter of his jailer. Not sure how accurate that is.
We don't know.
Numerous later additions to the legend have better related it to the theme of love. Tradition maintains that the Saint Valentine performed weddings for Christian soldiers who were forbidden to marry by the Roman emperor. An 18th century embellishment to the legend claims he wrote the jailer's daughter a letter signed, "Your Valentine," as a farewell before his execution.
What do you think about this? Like, so basically we're celebrating this, I don't know what to call him.
The saint.
Well, yes, the saint.
He's been sanctified.
Well, he's a saint, but I feel like it's just a lot of hype around his name. And to hear that he's not the only Saint Valentine that existed in the time, or the law of Valentine's Day is centered around, I feel like...
I mean, people choose their battles, right?
Yeah, we're celebrating some old guy who existed in Rome, and what does that have to do with us?
You could also make the argument, about Christianity, because, this was essentially a period of ministering for Christians, getting them married against edicts by the Roman emperor who oversaw everything, the laws, the legislation, so on and so forth.
So he was a hopeless romantic.
A hopeless romantic, or just one who did not see the use of denying people the ability to be their
Okay. I can roll with that.
And also, during the time of Jesus, there were many a Messiah, about 11 of them that were catalogued, and yet people still chose the battle of Jesus.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? Let's
see.
give people some room.
I see.
You see what I mean?
I see. So how do you normally celebrate Valentine's Day then?
I have never had a tradition.
Okay.
Like today, for example, we are recording the podcast.
Yes.
Then later, I'm meeting with an insurance adjuster to see if they can give me a better deal on insuring my house and possessions.
Okay.
And after that, I will be emceeing an event called Sweeties based in Longstreet Backpackers. And that will be fun. I have not emceed in over a year, and so it's time to bring out the theatrics.
No, that sounds solid. That sounds great. I don't typically have plans for Valentine's Day, but I didn't celebrate Valentine's Day last year, I don't think. I don't think I celebrated the year before that. Um, it usually comes around the time when I'm mostly single, so I'm not too bothered by it. But this year I did get a message. I did get
A
a
message.
young message, a young happy Valentine from one person though. Like, I mean, yeah.
But I mean, that's not new, right? It's because I think it's to some large extent in South Africa, Valentine's Day is not something you generally wish people, like a
Yeah.
birthday
Like a
or
birthday or
Christmas, or
Christmas,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? And what I found throughout growing up is that people would build these traditions around Valentine's Day. For example, in high school,
Okay.
we had this thing of roses between
Right.
our sister schools, St. Cyprian's and Bishop's, where girls at St. Cyprian's, boys at Bishop's could write a mystery rose to a friend, even if it was to somebody in the same school.
Okay.
And I used to look at it and think to myself, why in the hell is this a thing? Because it would generate so much excitement. I get the excitement,
Yeah.
like the secrecy of it, the mystery. I could understand that. Everyone loves a little mystery,
We
right?
do, we do.
But also, it was a thing where now I must pay you to send a mystery message to a person and they might not even know that it's me.
So it wasn't, you couldn't sign it.
Well, you could,
Right.
but then what's the intrigue? I love a little
Oh,
drama.
okay, okay. We didn't have anything quite like that, quite as dramatic as Secret Valentine. Um, but we did have to wear red and white. We didn't have to. It was like an option. And they would use Valentine's Day as like a fundraising exercise where you'd have to bring like 10 rand for the civvies day where you're dressed in casual wear and in red and white. And I think people took it upon themselves to start writing messages to each other or asking each other to be for the day. So growing up, I always thought it was just a useless holiday because it wasn't a real holiday in the sense that you didn't get to like not go to school or not go to work. It was just like consumerist again, like just like presents and just like a glorified, I don't know, I don't know what to call it, but yeah, I always found it was just a pet peeve of mine, Valentine's Day. Like, why must I wear red and white? Red is not even my color.
And red does not always mean love.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you study that sort of thing, like red is like it's a color that's used by the marketing, well, by the advertising industry to make you desire something. Like it has a psychology behind it that
Mm-hmm.
seeing the color red makes you actually hungry.
Mm-hmm.
That's why so many food
Ah, it's
places,
yellow.
yeah, and yellow, and so many food places like fast food places have the color red or the color yellow incorporated into their marketing or their branding. So maybe I was just too,
So we have thoughts on Valentine's Day.
yeah, we do have thoughts on Valentine's Day. I mean, I don't hate the holiday. I mean, maybe it's because I'm chronically single.
Wait a minute, repeat that.
Yeah, maybe it's because I'm chronically single. Like I'm never,
Chronically single.
yeah, never like in a relationship long enough to get to a point where you feel like, okay, this is my person, and now I'm going to buy them a gift for Valentine's Day. You know, the first time I received a Valentine's Day card, actually, I'm going to tell you the story. I think I was in like grade 8, and I'd met this boy from another school, and we had been going out for like a few months, and Valentine's Day came around. So I was in grade 9. Yeah, I was in grade 9. Valentine's Day came around, and he was like, "Oh, I got you something," and gave me a card and like some chocolate and a little mug, and the card actually said "Happy Birthday." And I asked him, like, why is this card, why did you get me a birthday card on Valentine's Day? He was like,
Poor
I didn't
child.
want you to get into trouble at home. So that was sweet, I guess, but that's like my most um like the memory that was burnt into my mind of Valentine's Day. Like, so stupid.
But, I think of Valentine's Day as sometimes one of those vacational breaks from the deluge of life.
Right.
Something that allows you an opportunity just to be silly, to
Mm.
to 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 play into or not to play into. For those of us who are critical, maybe it gives us another thing just to pick apart and pull apart just for a day.
Right, like me, like how I'm just like, okay.
And also, as of recent years, it's begun to mean something more romantic, something more charged, something more courtly.
Yeah, but like even as you say that, like it wasn't until the 14th or the 15th century when courtly love was an actual thing, like this idea of romance and the man, romancing the woman and following her around and trying to win her affections.
That would not go down well these like these
Well,
days.
we do kind of like look at social media. Well, not social, like look at dating apps.
Hmm.
Like there was a period in time when dating apps were a thing, and we were all flocking to them to find hookups or dates or whatever we were looking for, depending on your tastes at the time. We were all on there swiping. You've been on there. I've been on there.
It was a fun
It was the
time.
time. It was a whole era, and lots of people reported success in their relationships after using dating apps, but lots of people also found them to be just another breeding ground for like men who are disgusting and wanting to say disgusting things to people online, and just like there for the fun of it, not for anything like lasting or permanent.
But also for both, for all people, it was also having
Of course.
that roster whereby,
I
oh,
can't
this
believe
person.
I used to be on these apps,
Mm-hmm,
guys.
mm-hmm.
And I used to think, I remember I downloaded Tinder. I'm gonna expose myself. I downloaded Tinder, and I was like, I'm gonna meet somebody. And then I was telling this guy, he was like, why download Tinder? Like, I can just take you out on a date. We ended up dating for a bit, me and this guy. But it was born from me explaining to people that I was on dating apps. And then I think he just took pity on me and was like, You really want to go on a date? Like, I'll take you on a date. It's fine. You don't have to denigrate yourself online.
But I think that sort of perspective shifted where the denigration became the minority
Mm,
as people stopped taking dating apps as seriously and they allowed themselves to explore more. I'm not
mm.
saying all explorations of
Yes.
people's were within lines of
Yeah.
even the community guidelines of those apps, but the less serious it became, I think, the more fun people had until it got out of control, until you can't keep up with how many people you swiped with. You can't keep up with the conversations. They take up too much of your time.
Yeah.
I mean, me, I met my spouse on a dating app.
Yes, you found love through a dating app. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the my trick with dating apps is get off the dating app as fast as possible.
Right.
So we were on this dating app,
You
and
can mention it. People give the people what they want.
uh, we were on the G app.
That's enough. That's enough.
And we exchanged messages, like we exchanged 6 messages because I messaged them during the day and they didn't reply. And I was like, okay, cool. At this point, I just gotten out of an engagement, an 8 month
Mm.
long engagement, long distance. I was
Wow.
like, whatever, you know what I mean? There were other people I was talking to at the time. And then just as I was about to put my phone down at 1 a.m. because I was deciding to sleep and it was the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
broop comes in the message, and that's a very particular sound of a dating app.
Okay.
And
Brr.
broop,
Brup.
broop,
Brup.
broop. And we chatted, and for me, it was immediately, hey, you want to meet for coffee tomorrow? For them, it's like, yeah, that sounds great. Want to exchange WhatsApp numbers? Yeah, that's great as well. We exchanged numbers, we got onto WhatsApp,
Mm.
and we made plans to meet for coffee at 11 a.m. the next day. Next day, I wake up late. I see a message. Hey, I'm running a bit late. Can we postpone it to 1? I'm like, yes,
Mm.
I have been liberated from meeting on time. And then I get here, and guess who's not ready? Brushing their teeth, as I am then left to stand in a corner of the
Mm.
kitchen, looking around and being like, can we get out of here now?
Oh, wow.
But after coffee, after talking for hours and hours and hours up until the late hours of the night, had lunch together, had dinner together.
Wow.
Yeah, first date.
First date, and
I'm
it's
telling you.
you're already going all out, lunch and dinner.
You know what I'm saying?
Was there dessert?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Right. But because of how these app dating cultures go, is the fact that they brought up the fact that they might not see me again. And I was adamant. I was like, I'll definitely see you again. And they were like, yeah, sure. As if they didn't believe me.
Oh, they were skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
As skeptical as they generally you're allowed to be with these dating apps.
Yeah.
Then 23rd of December was the day we met. It was a Tuesday. No, it was a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Friday was the 25th. So after cooking lunch, Christmas lunch for the family, I head off in the afternoon to see them again. And then it just snowballed into seeing each other every day over the next 2 weeks, me making calls, them saying they don't like to be on, phone calls, they find them awkward, but
Yeah.
still picking up the phone and also calling me. So
Uh,
I sense a little playing hard to get.
right.
And then after 2 weeks, I was in my head, I was like, I saws ya, I wants
Once,
ya,
yeah.
and
And
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
have
have,
ya.
yeah.
So we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. The choice is yours.
Okay.
And they accepted. It was a beautiful time. I was then doing fashion school. They were then like teaching English online. And somewhere, somehow, they began this mission. Women, I tell you,
Mm.
they began this mission of, yeah, I wouldn't mind marrying a friend. La 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 la. And the conversation got more and more and more frequent until at one point they said, I love you. I said, I love you right from the beginning. Well, not from the beginning, obviously, but
Obviously
after
not.
knowing each other for a while.
Mm.
And then after a little post-coital clarity, they said, I love you.
Aw.
And then after a while, the seed of getting married was in the back of my head. And then it was my idea. I wrote down on a
Here in the back of my mind. Okay.
and of course, the programming was successful, and I got on one knee, and the rest is history.
That's beautiful. A success story from the G app, everyone. Honestly, that's wonderful. I can't really say much about anything because I did find I was once on a dating app and I met somebody and I thought it was gonna go somewhere, but through that person, I ended up meeting the person I'm still talking to. Well, am talking to now. So I haven't.
6 years later.
Are we gonna air out my dirty laundry like that?
It's not dirty.
It's not dirty, but yeah. After some time of not talking, I decided to follow them on Instagram and they followed me back and we've just been chatting nonstop ever since. I don't know where it's gonna lead to, but we've had conversations about different things. But it's long distance. I think I need to mention that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as easy connecting on a certain level.
Mm.
So it's really on the phone. So it is kind of online dating, I guess, somehow.
Yeah, but it's one on one.
Like we met in person, but now we communicate primarily through like communications apps.
Listen, communication and relationships look different today, especially in this
Mm,
digitized era. But also, too, as you know, I'm still a bit skeptical
yeah.
about long distance things that are only maintained through the digital.
I'm skeptical because I'm like, I don't even know what to say when people ask me if I'm in a relationship. Like, I have to be like, I just tell people I'm single. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. If you're listening to this, my dude, like, I'm sorry that this is the reality of the situation. If people ask me like, what's happening? Like, do you have a person? Like, I'll be like, I am single, or maybe yes, it depends on how I'm feeling. Sometimes I'm like, no, I'm in a relationship. I'm actually not single. But then other times I'm like, why does it matter? Because people will do what they want to do anyway. And it's not like I'm meeting like hordes of people every time because I only hang out with you.
Wow. Wow.
Well, recently I've been
Well,
hanging
I
out with
like to
you.
think that I'm a bloody delight.
You are
Okay.
great. But there are other avenues to explore, like this notion of love. There's
Yeah.
self-love. There's love of self, love for your family, love for
Hmm.
your community. And I think outside of the scope of romantic love, I'm experiencing love in its beautiful forms.
Yeah,
I
you tried to reject it, but we have sibling love going on.
Yeah, we do. We do. And the love for self, I think I've made some decisions in the recent past that have led me to a point where I'm like, I am so grateful for the love that I have shown myself. Like sobriety can be a form of self-love
Mm-hmm.
because I think for me, for me specifically, and not for anybody else, I'm not imposing this on anyone. Um, the act of drinking and indulging in substances and going out with people that I don't even know or like, it was a form of self-harm. Like it wasn't me loving myself. It was nice to put myself in new situations and be outgoing and meet new people, but it wasn't in line with my core values. So there's that. There's love for a community. Like ever since I joined the church, I've been feeling a little bit less lonely, because as I've mentioned, this romance that I'm embroiled in is a long distance one, so it's not always as comforting, um, as having like an immediate community that you can go to. So once a week I attend church, and also attend classes where we speak and read and learn about the Word of God. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, love of self, love of God, love of community, love of family. I think that's what's more important to me than any like romantic entanglement.
Yeah, and I think for me, I used to prioritize, love of family, love of self, love of friendship a lot. And I neglected for a very long time the notion of a romantic love.
Mm,
But wow, it kicked me hard last year
okay.
when Al went away to Joburg just for 3 months.
3 months.
Just for 3 months, they were staying with my cousin, so it's not like it's that big of a deal.
Okay.
And I was miserable.
Yeah.
I was absolutely miserable because we spent like 2.5 years together.
Yeah.
No, 3.5 years together,
Mm-hmm.
and always in each other's space. And then they're more of a free spirit. They like to travel, and I'm not going to stand in their way of that.
That's
And I'm
beautiful.
more of a homebody. But I don't know, it was the first time that I realized I have the capacity of missing this person terribly,
Yeah.
but also I'm very bratty, so sometimes I'd
How
be
does that manifest?
sometimes I'd be a bit unfair. I'd call them up and be like, "Oh, so I'm the only one making phone calls? I wish,
That
you."
is
No, I'm just
petty.
saying, like
Um,
sometimes I wish for a
that is
reciprocal.
so funny because I am on the other side of that spectrum where I want to be making more calls, but I can't. Like the way the situation I'm in is designed is that I only receive calls. I can't make calls. Does that
Ah,
make
I
sense?
get you. I get you.
Upon inquiring, like upon a whole formal inquiry into like why is this happening? Like why can't I call you? You know what I got as a response?
What?
That it's a rule. I don't know how to explain it, but basically he was saying that it's God's will for men to be the one who contact the other person.
Ooh, sis. I'm not gonna pass judgment on your life, but ooh,
Pass
sis.
judgment, please.
Oh,
It's
sis.
quite a backwards notion, is it not?
Sis, I'm telling you, like you said it.
I'm not okay actually. I want to say I'm not okay with the setup, but I feel like I've said too much and I'm gonna stop there. I've said enough, and before this becomes like a whole expose into my personal dealings, I'd rather just keep my mouth. I know it's not in the best interest of the podcast, but now I,
Too exposed?
yeah, I feel ashamed.
No, there's no need to be ashamed. We all go through our own trials and tribulations and
Mm,
successes and victories. And I think that is the beauty of love.
yeah.
There's never a it's never a finite resource. You can always generate more.
Really?
I'm telling you, like when
So you can only love a person more. Like, I mean, if they're good to you and you guys
Mhm.
get along, obviously. Um,
Well, you can also love them more, even if they treat you badly, and
oh,
that's
that's
not
sad.
necessarily the healthiest form of
That's
love.
toxic,
It's
isn't
like
it?
infatuation, and I'm
Limerence.
not one to dive into, the psychological separations of what infatuation is, but I still see it as a form of love, in that it was generated by interest,
What
generate.
about obsession?
Yeah, and that one, it's also unhealthy. But I mean, we all
It's
obsess a little. We all obsess a
Yeah,
little.
it does get to a point where like a romantic interest can become like a bit of an obsession.
Yeah.
But that's also like as a result of certain manipulative tactics that a person can employ to get you to be like hooked on them.
So I think infatuation, obsession, all these things, love even, it's about the dose, right? Learn
Right.
learn how to dose yourself
Yeah.
properly. Manage your own regiment of love and all these entanglements of it.
I am gonna like die on this hill of self-love. I know it's not like an easy copy and paste kind of thing, but like once you figure out what your values are, once you figure out what makes you most happy outside of someone else giving you the validation of being your lover or your boyfriend or your spouse or whatever, um,
Whatever.
I'm sorry. Outside of all of that, I think I will always advocate for um this this form of love, this pouring into your cup,
Mm-hmm.
this surrounding yourself with people who support and love you, this seeking a community to be a part of or being part of a community, um, caring for your family members, caring for yourself, caring for your animals, caring
Mm-hmm.
for your plants.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Which reminds me, I need to take care of mine.
Yeah, I think that's above all, I think the most cherished form of love in my life.
And the most stable, I'd
Mm,
argue.
yeah.
And I think that's where, in a way, we're all trying to get to. Sometimes we have to excise parts of our loves in order to be healthier, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm,
There's nothing wrong with taking responsibility or accountability that, yes, I've had to remove this because it is not working for me.
amen.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
But I think we have once again, through our machinations, reached the end of Incoko,
The conversation.
where we will see you next week and hope that you have a blessed Valentine's Day.
Bye.